I broke my own cardinal rule for online dating. Now, if you are a midlife mom who's single and in the dating world, you're going to totally relate to this story. And if you aren't, then listen in and understand what your sisters, your single midlife sisters are going through and be fully entertained by my experience. I have a rule that I created for myself for online dating. And it came out of experience. And this rule was necessary for me to have good experiences with online dating. And the rule is simple. I never, ever meet up with somebody in person until I've talked to them on the app with a video chat. And here's why. When you are talking to somebody that you have never met before, but you're texting and chatting, what happens is in your brain, you create a version of that person. And that person is created from your imagination. So when you read a book, books are always better than, say, the movies because you're putting your imagination into the story. So when I am creating this person without talking to them first, I'm taking all the things that I want this person to be and I'm putting that on them and creating this person from the place of who I would really like them to be. If they were the perfect person for me, then this is who they would be. And then you create that version of them. And when you meet them in person, I promise you, I guarantee you that they are nothing like the person that you have created in your brain. And so, therefore, when you jump on a call with somebody, a video call, first of all, you know they're a real person. They are who they say they are. They look like their pictures. And you can get a sense of who they are, the vibe they're giving off from the words they're saying, how they're saying them, their body language. Like, look what I do for a living. I get into people's brains. And when I'm talking to my clients, I'm looking at every single thing that their body is doing and every word they're saying. So for me, I find this to be a very powerful tool to save my time and energy because if I don't do this and I meet people without talking to them first, within 2 minutes, within 10 seconds of talking to them, I know instantly not a match for me, not a match to even like have another meetup. And I've wasted that time. And it's frustrating because it's just such an easy thing to do. And so in this situation, I didn't do it. And here's why. Here's why I broke my own cardinal rule. It's because I wanted to play tennis, and this person loves tennis like me. And I thought, tennis is a nice, relaxed, easy date. And so it even if it's not a match, meaning I'm not interested in this person in all at all, at least I'll get a really good game of tennis out of it. And so that's why I broke my cardinal rule of always having that video chat first. So here's how it went down, my friends. It was spur of the moment. Hey, let's meet. Okay, let's do it in an hour in the morning before the courts get busy. Fabulous. So we pull up, we show up both on time. It was wonderful. There was a court available. And we walked to the courts and just introducing each other. Actually, when he first got out of the car, we hugged each other. Hello. I am definitely a hugger. Well, I was a hugger, I should say, and I'll still be a hugger, but maybe not to people that I just met. It's just in my nature. I like hugging people. So we hugged right off the bat, and it seemed okay. And then we played tennis for a little bit. We had a little chit chat. Excuse me. And then we played tennis for a little bit. And it was a cool spring day. So the sun started to come out and we started to get warm. So as we started to get warm, I said, I'm just going to take off a jacket, just time out for a second. And I had probably 3 layers on. And he came over to take off a jacket as well. And as I was taking off my jacket, he walked past me and he ran his hand across my stomach. And I was like, what just happened? And it was very subtle. It was like I didn't even know that it was happening until it was happening. And it was just very nonchalant. And I thought, whoa, that was very personal and intimate. That was interesting. And I didn't like it because I don't know this person and I don't want to be touched by somebody that I don't know in a way that I haven't said is okay. So I thought that was really strange. And then we went about playing tennis again. And then we got warmer. And so another layer came off. And as I took the other layer off, he said, let's have another hug, but just with less stuff between us. Boing, another red flag. And I hugged him. And as I hugged him, he pulled me in really close. So it could be like if you knew this person, you would say, this person is a really good hugger because he was big. He was like 6'2". But if you didn't know this person, you would say, wow, this is really intimate for somebody that I don't know. And then oh, before he hugged me, as he was coming in for the hug, he was looking for a kiss. His head turned, he came in close, and it was so subtle and I wasn't expecting it, that it was kind of at the side of my head, and I just noticed it as it was happening and slightly turned my head away because it's like, oh my gosh, he's coming in for a kiss, which was really startling for me. And as I turned my head away, he hugged me really close for a really long time. And then as he let go, he slapped me in the butt. And I was like, what is happening here? And instantly I felt horrible, horrible. Now, if you are a woman and you're a woman in midlife listening to this podcast, I know, I feel confident saying that you have experienced something like this in your life at least once, probably many, many more times. And a lot of this may probably happen when you were younger, when you didn't know what was happening or how to speak on it or how to say something about it. Because it was a familiar feeling to me because I have had this happen to me before, but it was when I was quite young because people like to take advantage of young girls. As women, we are raised to be polite, do the right thing, keep people happy. Like that's how we are raised. And that's kind of like social constructs. And that's what um, keeps these situations perpetuating themselves. Because here I am, a grown ass woman, almost 55 years old, and this did not feel good for me. And I didn't say right away anything because I was so shocked that it was happening. And it was very subtle, which gave me flashbacks of a jerk who did this to young women. And they're very subtle about it just to test the waters. You see what I'm saying? So, but I don't know this person. And and so now that when I'm playing tennis, and by the way, when we were playing tennis, he was very masculine in his tennis playing, meaning he had one hand in his pocket while he was playing, like just thinking that he was going to be a better tennis player than me and saying stuff like, "Oh, we won't serve because there's a 50% chance that you won't be able to return my serve." And I'm just like not saying anything. I'm taking it all in, laughing inside because turns out like we were at the same level. And he did serve his fast serve and I returned it every time. It wasn't really very fast serve, which I didn't say anything. I didn't say any of that. And he was very competitive. And so I was competitive back, and it bothered him when I was competitive back and beat him. And at one point, actually, I hit a shot that was really good and he couldn't return. And he said, fuck you, in a joking way. And I was like, look at that. Like, so these are all signs that are coming out. But in this moment, we went back and played tennis. And I'm like, okay, this is not okay. I don't feel good about this. And I should have said something right away, but I didn't know what to say. And I bet a lot of women are listening to this saying, yeah, I've experienced this and I didn't know what to say and I felt uncomfortable. Um, But I was thinking about this going, okay, yes, I'm definitely going to say something, but what do I want to say? 'Cause I didn't want it to be a reaction. I wanted it to be well thought out. I really wanted to express to him how I was feeling and how it wasn't okay. And as we played tennis and it came to an end, I thought, yeah, that's what I'm going to say. And as we were doing small banter, like he was saying, that was fun. Yeah, let's do it again. I said, look, I got to be honest with you. I feel like your hugging was just really aggressive in the way that you were touching me. And he was shocked. And his face, he was like, what? Really? Like he was shocked. So in his brain, he's thinking everything that he's done up until this point is totally fine. And I'm like, yeah, I just feel like you need to know that because I was not okay with any of that. And he just couldn't have been more surprised. So as we were walking away, it was very awkward. We made small talk. I was okay with it being awkward because I wanted him to know that I was not comfortable with what happened. And I want, because I want him to know that, yeah, it was a weird situation because he felt that everything was okay and going really well. And meanwhile, I'm like, this is horrible. And he had no clue. And as we got to our cars, he just said, yeah, well, I'd really like to see you again because I think you're very pretty and we had fun and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, but I just won't hug you. And I said, that's not the point. I think you're missing the point. The point is that it's not that I don't like to be hugged. It's like I don't like it in the way that it happened with us. And then I started to talk about you have as a male, you never have to think about who you're going to meet. Like this random person that I've never met before, am I going to be safe? Like the fact that he's just such a, a big person. Even a man that isn't a big person is stronger than I am. And there's always those thoughts that a woman has to think about all the time. Can I go out at night by myself? Like women just have to think about these things all the time. And it's never a thought, especially in a man like this. He never thinks about those types of things. And to which he replied, because I was talking about getting myself into a situation that I couldn't get out of, or, that kind of situation. And he looked at me and said, well, has that happened? Have you ever been raped before? And he just threw that out there like he was asking me if I like cream in my coffee. And I was like, it was so, you could just tell that he is not connected to any of this. And I looked at him and I said, first of all, know that nothing like that has ever happened to me because I just have really good boundaries. But in fact, I didn't say this, but in fact, I have had people try things like that, um, and I've shut them down, or tried things like that and I don't return. Like I said, when I was younger, something like that happened. Some old perverted creep was touching me in a very nonchalant way to see if I would react to it. And I was only like 18 years old, like super young. And so you could see that he was this is what he did, and he tested the waters. And if people didn't say something, he would take it to the next level and the next level and the next level. And it was horrible. He was a very horrible person, and he ran a business, and he hired young women um, to help him in his business so that he could take advantage of him like this. That's a side note. So I have experienced something like that, but when I met that man, the things that he was testing me with, I'm like, these are not okay, and I'll never go back there again. Anyway, so this man blurts this out, and I said, no, like, I haven't been raped before, but holy cow, what a harsh way to just throw that out there and have no compassion or empathy or understanding of what you're saying even means. I was just shocked. And then he also said, because I said, you're a big guy, so it can be intimidating for women to meet up with somebody like that when they've never met them before. And he said, to which he replied, maybe you should just only meet up with small men. So I could tell that there was no awareness of what he did. And as I thought about it later, and the beautiful part was I went home and I told my kids, I have two boys, and I know that my boys would never treat a woman this way, like ever, ever, ever. And when I told them this, they were horrified by the way this man had treated me and to see the way he was thinking that it was okay, like there was nothing wrong with what he was doing. And they just replied, "We always treat women with the utmost respect. We always think like how how would I want my mom to be treated? Would I be okay if my mom was treated this way?" And they treat women this way. So I know that any woman that my boys go out with would be treated with kindness and compassion and respect and all of that. And so when I presented them with this story, they were just shocked and flabbergasted because it's not even in their awareness that a man would treat a woman this way. So anyway, as I um, drove away, I was going over in my head the conversation that I had had with him and the way that I had expressed how I was feeling and was disappointed because I realized that in that moment, because I was still trying to process it and I didn't express properly how I was feeling, because what I wanted to say was the way that you touched me or put yourself in my space was not okay for me. It was inappropriate. And because he did say, I don't sleep around, but I'm a very affectionate person. And so after I thought about it, what I wanted to say was, that's great that you're an affectionate person, but you're just putting that on me without even asking me if it's okay for me to be receiving this because this is what you want without even one iota of a thought that it might not be what I want. Not, you didn't even think for a second that I might not want that same thing that he wanted or that he was offering up or that he was giving out. And I guarantee you that if we went around the tennis court and asked 10 women if they were okay with their stomach being touched, um, trying for a kiss, no, half an hour after you've met somebody and being slapped on the butt, if they would be okay with that, 10 out of 10 women would say, no, that's highly inappropriate. That's horrible. That's not okay. And so the reason I'm sharing this story is because I said something. I should have said something right away, but I'm not going to beat myself up over that because I know why I didn't. It was the shock of being in this situation and feeling uncomfortable and being like, how do I say something like, this is not okay? And how do I say it in a way that I'm still safe and I can express how I'm feeling? And it can just be the end of it. And just walk away, literally walk away. This tennis match is over because this just feels uncomfortable. And let him think that I'm whatever I am, whatever his thoughts would be about me, and let that be okay. And I just wanted to share it because I know that women my age, women in midlife are still experiencing these situations. And I was shocked that it was happening to me with all the awareness that's going on these days for a situation to happen like this within half an hour of meeting somebody surprised me. It really did. But it just goes to show that that's just who he is. It's not even in his awareness that what he did was inappropriate and wrong in so many ways. And so in a way, I feel like it's given me the tools to be prepared in case it happens again to say something right away. And I think it's being able to say something in a way that feels comfortable for me and not really caring how it's received, as long as it's a way that feels not reactionary to me, but sticking to what feels good for me and my boundaries and standing up for myself and speaking my mind in the moment. But I really did process it and then spoke my mind, like 10 or 15 minutes later. Um, but next time, I feel confident that I'll be able to do it in that moment. And I'm sharing it because I want you to feel confident in the moment to say, no, this doesn't feel good for me. And here's why. And that can be the end of it. That could be the end of the date. That can be the end of um, that moment, and you can walk away from it. But just like, wow, after everything that's been going on, there's still that, there's still people out there that think it's okay for them to just push their wants and needs on somebody else without considering or asking if it's okay for them. Because in my world, I just would never even consider, even if I liked somebody, like there was never going to be a second date with this person, even if all this didn't happen, just it wasn't a match. But even if none of this happened and I liked this person, I still would never condone any of that within the first half hour of meeting somebody, even if I really like this person. So I'm like, who would condone that? But people would, and I don't want to judge. I don't want to judge because to each their own. It's not right or wrong if somebody is okay to receive that within half an hour of meeting somebody. That's totally okay. But what's not okay is when it wasn't um, asked for, or it wasn't, consent wasn't given, and that person just keeps doing it. And without even one iota of a thought that maybe this person doesn't want to receive this or is not having the same interest that I'm having. So there you go, ladies. That is that is how and why I broke my cardinal rule for dating, and I will never break that rule again. Now, having said that, if I talk to this person with a video chat, would I have caught all of this? Maybe not, because it was the physical touch that was the part that was the biggest problem for me. I might not have been able to have known that that was going to happen, but I do feel confident that if I would have talked to him on video, I probably would not have met up with him in person. I can say that with certainty that I probably would have been like, okay, that was a nice video chat, but not for me, not my cup of tea. So I will from here on out stick to my own cardinal rule. And because rules were meant to be broken, right? I'm a rule breaker, but in this case, I know that I've created this rule for my own safety. And because of this experience that I had, it just reaffirms that this is a really good rule. And if you're a single woman out there in the dating world, am happy to share this rule with you. It works 100% of the time, and it will avoid that huge disappointment of creating somebody in your brain and then them showing up and being nothing like the person you've created in your brain. Trust me on this one. All right, ladies, I hope that this serves you in some way, shape, or form. Always, always, always love yourself first and have an amazing day.